there, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Anyway, in today's video, I wanted to do a Halloween themed video. So yeah, I wanted to do a reading vlog where I read a bunch of books that kind of have a Halloween theme to them. I had a couple different ideas of where I wanted to go, and then I realized that I had so many of this type of book, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a witchy rom-com reading vlog. I also really wanted to do this because last year I read The Hex by Erin Sterling, and I really loved that book. And I read it towards the end of October, so I didn't really have any more time to squeeze in more witchy books, and I really wanted to, but then it was already November and I was like, okay, I'll wait till next October and then I'll read a bunch. So in this video, I'm going to be reading and talking about 6 different witchy rom-com books, and letting you know which ones you should check out, which ones I think aren't worth your time. Anyway, so the books I'm going to be reading for this vlog are The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. I'll also be reading Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson, Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot, The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, which is the sequel to the Hex, although it is a romance series, so it doesn't actually matter if you read them out of order particularly. The next one is The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton, which again is actually the second book in a series. And then the last one I'm going to be reading for this vlog is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, which has been so hyped up, so I'm excited to see what I think about that one. But yeah, I didn't really have that much else to say apart from like, let's admire the witchiness of this dress. Thank you very much. It's all in the lace sleeves, but it is giving witch vibes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and let's just get on with the first book, which was The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. Hello there. First of all, apologies about my voice. I am sick at the time of filming this, which is not ideal. But I wanted to talk about these books before I forget them, because I've already finished 2 books for this vlog, and I know that I've got a lot more coming, so I don't want to forget about them. Let me open up my Goodreads, because I cannot remember what I said about this book or what it's about. I'm so prepared. I'm such a professional, honestly. So yeah, the first book that I'm going to be talking about is a book called The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall, and this is a debut book, and it's actually I had an advanced reader's copy of this, so it came out on the 19th of September, and this book has been like quite hyped, I feel, but by Goodreads. I saw Reagan from Peruse Project talking about this, but apart from that, I have not really seen it anywhere apart from on like Goodreads lists of like most anticipated books for fall. So I was very excited about it, and I requested an ARC. And it basically says, for fans of Practical Magic and Gilmore Girls, The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic is a debut novel that explores the shields we build around our hearts to retain our own magic. Sadie Reveler, I don't know, has always believed that the curse of 4 heartbreaks that accompanies her magic would be worth the price. But when her grandmother is diagnosed with cancer with only weeks to live, and her first heartbreak, Jake McNeely, returns to town after a decade, her carefully structured life begins to unravel. With the news of their grandmother's impending death, Sadie's estranged twin brother Seth returns to town, bringing with him deeply buried family secrets that threaten to tear Sadie's world apart. The grandmother has been the backbone of their family for generations, and with her death, Sadie isn't sure she'll have the strength to keep the family and her magic together. As feelings for Jake begin to rekindle and her grandmother growing sicker by the day, that doesn't make sense. Sadie faces the last of her heartbreaks, and she has to decide, is love more important than magic? I did not enjoy this book, let me tell you. I actually DNF'd this book. I got 36% of the way through, and I was just like, no, I'm having none of this. Basically, it's about this woman called Sadie, and she runs this bakery with her grandmother, who they are both witches, although they don't like being called witches. Like, they're very much like her brother Seth said that they were witches, and she's like, don't call us witches. I'm like, okay, so make up your mind, book. Like, you're either a witchy book or you're not a witchy book, but like it says witches in the description, and then it's like, wait, we're not witches. How dare you call us witches? So I'm like, could you please make up your mind? But yeah, so basically Sadie is running this bakery with her grandmother, and they sell these like magic pastries, magic cakes. So I thought that was interesting, like the magic system. Part of it being about like food was quite interesting to me because I'm such a foodie that I found that interesting, and I love baking. I love the idea of owning a bakery, although I don't think it's ever going to happen for me, but that would be amazing. In many ways, not so much. But I really wanted to love this because I do love Gilmore Girls. I love witchy vibes, but I feel like the Gilmore Girls comparison was just completely stupid. Like, it was not there. The only way it was slightly Gilmore Girls-y was that it was a small town, but like it didn't have the nice community aspect of Stars Hollow. So I also thought that the romance was super bland, and they didn't have any chemistry. It was so weird. Like, came back into her life. I think they'd been like high school sweethearts, and then he came back and she was like, no, like I hate you. But like when she first sees him, she like runs up and gives him a hug, but then she's like, no, I actually hate you and I don't want anything to do with you, like you broke my heart. They keep on interacting. And what was really weird for me about this relationship was that I felt like the author didn't actually give us their history. Like, we got little tiny glimpses of it. No, we didn't get glimpses of it, we got told about it. We didn't get shown what their history was. We would get told a little piece of it, not the whole story. And I feel like she really needed to show us, for me to then feel like I was rooting for the second chance romance. I needed to see why they messed up in the first place, like what went wrong. But we just didn't get that. It was just bullshit. There was no chemistry and no explanation of their history, and I did not like it. And I didn't think that it was done well. I didn't care about them getting back together. And then something else that I found really weird about this book was that Sadie's twin brother, Seth, left town a year ago, because these people are like 28 and they have never been anywhere outside of their town before, which is fine. You don't need to go outside of your town if you don't want to. Seth wanted more and he wanted to go and explore the world, but Sadie is so butthurt about her brother leaving, and like, I get he left without a trace. Like, he didn't call or have any contact since leaving. Like, that's weird. That's not great. I do completely understand wanting to go and branch out and explore if that's your vibe. But you can't get all mad because he left, because not everyone wants to stay in their hometown for their whole life. Anyway, but what was even weirder about that was that, like, the way that it was talked about, like, I feel like the author couldn't decide what she wanted to do originally. Like, having both the love interest and the brother leaving and then coming back, like, it was just a weird thing for me. And then the way that it was written about, like, I remember Sadie mentioning like, oh, there's just one toothbrush since Seth left, and like, that is such like a partner thing more than like a brother thing, like, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like the way that was talked about made it sound like she was pining after Seth, but then it turns out Seth's actually her twin brother. So it's like, what? Like, that, it was just so weird. And I feel like the author was trying to do too much, having like two people leave and then come back. It's like mixing a second chance romance but also this like estranged brother situation. Like, it was just weird. Like, it was just too much going on, like, with a family drama, a second chance romance, talking about like family illness and everything, and then throwing on this random witchy vibe on top of it. I think that the story really needed to have more focus, and yeah, it was definitely lacking. And I also thought that the dialogue felt unnatural, especially with Gigi, who's the grandmother. She always was calling people a shit ass or a pissant. And I'm just like, what? Where did that come from? Like, I don't know. I think it was trying to be like a edgy but lovable grandmother vibe. It was just weird. Like, I don't know. I really didn't like it. The best part of this book is the cover. So book number 1 for this vlog is an absolute fail. DNF at 36%. Need to blow my nose and drink some water and some coffee and take out my contacts. It's all just not going well. Anyway, the second book that I've read is called Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson. This is just a book that I bought either earlier this year or the end of last year after I read The Kiss Curse and no, not The Kiss Curse. I mean the X Hex. I'm going to be reading The Kiss Curse later on. The X Hex. I think this one was recommended and then it was on sale, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy it because I was thinking I love witchy books, even though now that I think about it, I think I've only read 2 prior to starting this video, and one of them was a 5-star, one of them was a 1-star, so I don't know where I got the idea that like I love witchy vibes, but I think I just loved the idea of witchy vibes. Anyway, so I decided to pick up this book, and this basically follows our main character Essie, and she lives in this house called Beldam. Basically, there's this spell on her house, which means that people who visit can't remember it. They can't remember anything that went on inside the house. They're not able to then find the house after the fact. And they also can't really remember the people who lived there. And they live in this small town in Essex in England. And so, yeah, when they go out into the village, like, people recognize them and they're like, oh, hi, yeah, I know you. But like, after that, they can't really remember their interactions that well. Obviously, all of the people who live in that house are witches. And then all of a sudden, this guy called Josh, naturally, because what romance book doesn't have a love interest called Josh? Like, Josh has just moved to town from Seattle, which is mentioned so many times, so you will never forget that he's from Seattle. But yes, he has just moved to town because he's inherited this house, and he actually owns a bunch of the properties in the village, including Beldam House, and he can't find it anywhere, obviously because of this spell. But then he actually meets Essie, and he remembers the house. So yeah, they actually owe him a bunch of rent, so he goes over to try and collect the rent, and yeah, he ends up remembering them, and he remembers Essie. Yeah, they basically have like an enemies to lovers. I use that term extremely loosely because they're not really enemies at all. Yeah, an enemies to lovers romance, and it basically kicks off just a whole series of events, and there's this winter ritual that needs to happen, and things go wrong, and it's a bit of a mess. I also didn't enjoy this book particularly, although I did finish it, because actually, like, this one was such a weird one. When I started this off, I actually picked it up because I was reading a book which was quite gruesome, and I didn't want to read it at nighttime, so I picked up this book to read at night, and then read the other book during the day. But I ended up really, like, getting into this book quite quickly, and then wanting to read it, so I ended up, like, forgetting about the other book and just reading this. So yeah, in the beginning, I was really enjoying it, and I think it has really nice autumnal vibes. If you want an autumnal atmosphere, this book is really good for that, but that's pretty much it. Also, the house itself has kind of a personality, which is kind of interesting, but again, that's kind of it on the things that I like, because the rest of the characters just had no personality, and there was literally no chemistry between Josh and Essie. Like, I don't understand where their romance came from. Like, they were just kind of like, he's hot, and he's like, oh, she's kind of hot, and then that's it. Like, then they're just like, oh, I'm gonna pine after her or him for ages. And, well, not even ages. Like, they go on a date pretty early on. And yeah, they're just kind of like, there's an attraction there, but there's no chemistry. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Then the plot just kind of went all over the place, and it was very weird. A lot of it was quite cringy, especially the sex scenes. Like, there are a few sex scenes in this. They're not, I wouldn't say it's particularly spicy. Like, it's not fade to black, but it's not exactly like spicy. It's just kind of like a little bit of detail, but not a ton. Like, I wouldn't call it spicy. It's also like so awkward. The sex scenes were written so awkwardly, to the point where in one chapter she said, oh my god, he's making me cum my brains out. And then in the start of the next chapter, he goes, oh yeah, we had such good sex last night. She was cumming her brains out. And I'm just like, you really liked that sentence enough to use it twice? Like, really? I really liked the idea of this. I think it had promise, but the execution of this was so poor, like so bad. So I would not recommend this. Again, beautiful cover, but I think just skip this one. It's not good, and I gave it 2 stars. But so far, we have not had a lot of success in my witchy reading vlog, so wish me luck.
Hello there. It's been quite a while since I last updated this vlog, but I've since read one more witchy book, and I'm currently reading another one. Obviously, that's what this video is all about. Anyway, so I'll talk about the book that I finished, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of a haul of some autumnal vibes room decor that I've bought, and then I'll let you know what I'm currently reading. So the book that I've actually finished is a book called Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot. I heard about this book not too long ago, and then I didn't realize it was coming out as early as it was, and my library happened to have it, so I borrowed it from the library, and I'm so glad I borrowed it and didn't buy it. Spoiler on how I felt about it. This book basically follows our main character, Jessica, and she is in her 30s, and she is a witch in this small town. She runs this little shop, and basically one day she meets this guy called Derek. He randomly shows up in her town because things have started going on in her town, which are a little bit weird. Anyway, and Derek shows up, and he's like, oh, hey, you are the chosen one, and if we don't act now, this town is gonna get destroyed. And so she just blindly trusts this guy, and they basically use all of their witchy powers to try and stop this town from being destroyed. The plot is questionable. There's also like a romance as well, and there's also a bit of a subplot because when Jessica was 17, she like first discovered being a witch, and she found this grimoire, and she performed this spell on this guy that she had a crush on. She performed a love spell on him when she was 17, and because of that, this girl who was also in love with that guy hates her, and like they're still enemies. Anyway, that's the basic plot. This book was not very good at all. I was very optimistic when I started off because like I could see how I could maybe enjoy it, but it was just so bad. It's more of like a 1.5 rather than a 2. I had many issues with this book, but one of my issues was the romance. It was just so bad. Like they had no chemistry at all, and also like the way that they spoke to each other was so immature. Not just Jessica and Derek, but also like all the other adult characters. They just all sounded very immature, and it was really weird because they would always be like talking about sex, but then it was actually like pretty much closed door. So it was really weird that they like mentioned it so much, but then weren't actually shown any like smutty scenes. So it was really weird for me that they talked about it that much and then it was just like so tame in terms of the actual smut. Yeah, that was just weird for me. I also didn't like the fact that we did get Derek's point of view as well as Jessica's, although it was mostly told in Jessica's point of view. And Jessica's point of view was told in first person, but for Derek's point of view, instead of actually giving him his own voice, she just switched to third person, and it was so weird and really threw me off every time. I talk a lot about perspectives, and it's because that's something that I seem to notice a lot, and I tend to really dislike third person perspective when it comes to romance, although I'm currently reading a book and it is told in third person, but that's fine. I'm enjoying it. So what else did I not like about it? And also the ending of this book, where there's supposed to be like this kind of big battle situation, it was just the most anticlimactic thing in the world. I did not like it. And like another thing, which this is just a personal preference, but Derek was described as having like long blonde hair, which is fine. That's fine, and that's some people's vibe. But at one point, like Jessica comes downstairs and she's like, oh, he's got his hair in a low pony, and I'm just like, that is giving founding father vibes. That is not giving sexy witch vibes. I don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe she was thinking like the Witcher vibes or Thor, but I was thinking of like George Washington. Like, it was not good. So yeah, that one was really disappointing. I ended up giving that book 2 stars because I didn't hate it, but I did not like it at all. It was actually such a struggle to read it, and I did actually skim quite a bit towards the end because I was just getting so bored. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that one. So yeah, this vlog so far is not very successful, but I have hope for the rest of the books for this vlog, fingers crossed. And the one I'm currently reading I am really enjoying, but before I talk about that, let me show you some fall home decor that I bought recently. This is mostly candles, but it's fine. So last weekend, I think, I went to TK Maxx, which is basically TJ Maxx if you live in the US. If you live in North America and you're familiar with TJ Maxx, TK Maxx is the exact same. It's just called TK Maxx for some reason. I'm not sure why. It's probably some sort of like, there's already a company with that name. And I always go there to buy candles because they always have discounted candles and they have a very good selection. I bought 4 candles because I am obsessed. One of these is not very autumnal and the others are definitely autumnal vibes. So the first one I got is lavender chamomile. This is the one that's not autumnal, and it does smell like lavender, as you can imagine. It's just very like calming and nice scent. I'm probably gonna save this one for spring, but I just wanted to buy it when I saw it because it smells so good. I also bought this one, which is called Falling Leaves, and it says Hello Fall on the top. This is Sand and Fog, which is probably my favorite candle brand to buy. I just find that they do really nice scents, and I love their packaging. It's really nice. This one is definitely more wintry. Like, it smells kind of like Christmas tree vibes, but like a little bit different. So I'll probably start burning this one in November. Anyway, another one I got is called Stormy Night, and this one, for how good this smells. This one smells like a cologne. Like, this is just like a very manly, clean scent. I love it. I actually really like that in a candle. I have another Sand and Fog candle, which smells like the Abercrombie & Fitch cologne. I don't know what it is about the like manly, clean scent, which is just like the best, but I really like it. Anyway, it says that it's woodland moss wrapped in aromatic herbs and balsamic amber, infused with incense and elements of dark, opulent woods. Just, you know, quite autumnal, even though it does just smell like a man. And then the most fitting candle for this video, I got another Sand and Fog candle, and this one is called Witch's Brew, and it has a little witch on the top of the tin, which is very cute. And this is the one I've been burning the most recently. It's quite like spicy, but not like in a horrible like cinnamon disgustingness vibe, even though I love cinnamon, but like I don't like a cinnamon candle. But yeah, it's like a little bit spicy, a little bit fruity, and just autumnal. It's really good. I don't really like a fruity candle, as you probably gathered by my candle haul. I like floral scents or like clean. Clean isn't the right word, I don't know, but like I don't like a sweet scent. I'm not really into fruity. This is like subtly fruity and like more like spicy, and I don't know. This one's really good. And also, I couldn't resist that tin, and it's perfect for this vlog. So every time I've been reading a witchy book at nighttime, I light this candle and I have a good time. Well, clearly not, because I haven't enjoyed any of the books I've read so far, but that's fine. And the last little item I got is I got this little ghost, which I think is so cute. And it's actually like got a hole in the bottom for you to put a candle inside of it. But currently he's living on my bookshelf, so I don't want to put a candle inside, but I do think I will get one of those fake candles. But yeah, he just lives on my bookshelf, and he's just added a nice little spooky touch to the room. I do want to get a little pumpkin of some description, but I want something that's quite subtle and like not too like tacky. And I also saw somewhere like an orangey brown red plaid blanket, which I really want to get to put on the bed. But that's it. I don't want to buy a ton because I just feel like it can get really overpowering very quickly. And that's not a comment to anyone else's room. I love all the fall decor, but because we are just decorating like our room, then I think it could easily become too much too soon. And also, where am I going to put it once the season ends, you know? Anyway, but yeah, so that's my little fall decor haul. Maybe I'll take you along when I go and buy a pumpkin and maybe a blanket. We'll see if that happens. But enough rambling about all that. Time to talk about the other book that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading the sequel to The Hex, which is The Kiss Curse. I loved The Hex. I read that last year and it was one of my favorite books of the year. It's just like got the perfect small town witchy vibes, but like actually like a good romance. Like, I don't know. I really loved that book. But then I saw it on Goodreads the other day and it's got like a 3.5 on Goodreads, which is like quite low. Like, I think anything under a 3.7, yeah, anything under a 3.7, I'm always a bit wary of. So I was really surprised to see that it's got a 3.5 because I thought it would have definitely a higher rating than that. I love it. But anyway, and basically The Kiss Curse follows the main character from the first book. It follows her cousin, whose name is Gwen. So basically Gwen runs the little witchy shop that they own in town. And one day, Reese's older brother, who Reese is the love interest in the first book, his older brother is currently running a pub in Wales and it's not doing very well. And their dad is like this really powerful witch and he basically feels like they're letting down the Penhallow name. So Wells, who's the brother, he decides to go to this small town in Georgia where everyone else is living, and he basically opens up a rival witchy shop, and so it's a little bit of a rivals to lovers romance, and I'm so excited for it. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about a third of the way through, more or less, and I'm having a really good time, which I'm very happy about because the last 3 books for this vlog have been so bad. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and actually I was supposed to do a bunch of stuff today, which just hasn't happened, but I think I'm gonna give up on that plan and just get cozy and read this book for the rest of the afternoon because I don't feel like doing anything more taxing than that. It's my day off in the middle of the week, so you know, I've been working already this week and I feel like I should just relax. I'm justifying it to myself because I need to, because I'm that kind of person, but I'm doing it. Anyway, so that's all I have to say for now. I will come back to you once I finish this book and let you know how it's gone, but so far so good. So I'll see you soon to update you on this book.
Hello, I'm back to talk about The Kiss Curse by Erin Sperling. I can't remember what I said in the last clip, but I'm pretty sure I was talking about how much I was loving this book, and that still stands. I finished this book a couple days ago, actually. I finished this book so quickly. If I didn't have to work, I literally would have finished this book in a day. This was so fun, and I found it so addicting as well. I really loved the dynamic between Gwen and Wells. I really love the trope of rivals to lovers. I think that it can be done so well, and it was really fun. I have seen some reviews saying that like they didn't think that they had chemistry, but I disagree. I feel like they did. It wasn't like built up in the most amazing way possible, but I still felt it. And also, I think a lot of people didn't like the ending of this book. It did wrap up very quickly and very nicely. However, that is what I wanted, you know? I just wanted like a good, fun, spooky time, which doesn't take itself too seriously. And as long as you go in with that expectation of like, it's just a good, fun time, like it's not here to be like a wonderful high fantasy book with a very fleshed out world and 0 plot holes, this is not going to be the book for you. But if you just want something that's like cozy and fun and a little bit sexy, then I would recommend this book. This is really fun. I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for the 3rd book, which is coming out next year. I'm very excited for that because yeah, I just think, I don't know, I'm like very surprised that these books have as low a rating as they do because I adored The XX. I think that's a fantastic book. It's probably not perfect and I'm probably just like hyping it up in my mind, but I loved it. So far, like this is by far the best book that I've read for this video because I've just been disappointed book after book. So far, this is the only one I would recommend and I loved it. I think the next one I'm going to read is going to be The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. And then we only have 1 more for this video. So hopefully these last 2 can be good because like so far, only 1 out of 4 has been good. So if we could get at least half nice spooky books that I can recommend, then I'll be happy. So far, it has not been great. I will come back to you once I've started that and tell you what I'm thinking so far.
If we can go ahead and pretend like I don't look like I've been punched in the face, that would be great. I haven't. I'm just really freaking tired because I got home from Spain last night. I went to Spain on holiday and our flight got home past midnight. And so we didn't actually get home until after 2 a.m. and I'm so tired. But I finally started the next book for this vlog and the penultimate book for this vlog. Anyway, and that is The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. I started this on the plane yesterday because I'm also reading a different book, a fantasy romance arc, which is coming out. Well, it will already be out by the time this video comes out. I'm currently reading The Hurricane Wars. I'm very early on in that book right now, but it's got a lot to do with flying, and I just didn't really want to read something with flying and combat while I was also flying, because I don't love flying, and I was feeling very nervous about it last night for some reason. I don't know why. So it's like, let me read something that's going to take this completely off of my mind. So I started reading The League of Gentlewomen Witches, and I don't know how I feel about this. I think this is fun, but it's also just like too chaotic. It's basically set in the Victorian era, and it follows our main character Charlotte, and basically there are witches and then there are pirates, and pirates are basically witches, but they fly around in their houses. Like, they fly their houses around and they steal stuff, but so do the witches. It's very much giving that vibe of like the Victorian era upper class society, specifically like the women, because we're basically only following the women, and them all being like catty, and you know, it all being about sort of like other people's perceptions of them, things like that. Like, very worried about image. That's the word I was looking for. Like I said, I'm really tired, so my brain is not functioning. So yes, it's very like catty, a lot of bickering, and like they're all trying to steal things from each other. And there's basically this prophesized amulet from this like very old, like kind of like the original witch, I think. She had this amulet, and it's basically ended up in the British Museum, and so all of the witches and the pirates are trying to steal this amulet, and Charlotte has been prophesized as the chosen one. I'm not really sure why, and it's quite chaotic. I don't really understand what's going on. This is the second book in a series, but from my understanding, because it's like a romance series, a witchy romance series, it doesn't actually matter, I don't think, unless that's why I'm not confused, but it just seems like there's a lot going on, and there hasn't been a lot of explanation about how everything works. And it's fun. Like, it's written in a really funny way. I can't really find any examples. I've been trying to like highlight things, but then it's kind of like you need the full scene to get why it's funny. I'm not enjoying it. I'm about 25% of the way through, so I did read a good quarter of the book yesterday while I was on the flight, and yeah, I'm enjoying it, but there's a part of me which is like, every time I pick it up, I don't know, I just don't really feel like reading it. I'm enjoying it, but I thought I would enjoy it more than I am. But yeah, those are all my thoughts for now. I'm gonna go and I will talk to you when I finish this book.
Hello, this is a terrible angle, but I'm currently getting ready to go to work, and I thought, why not chat about this book right this minute while I'm put my makeup on, and because of that I don't have time to set up my camera, so I'm filming this on my phone. Apologies about the quality. But anyway, yesterday I finished reading The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton, and I think in my last clip about this book I was talking about how I kind of started out loving it, and then as time was going on I wasn't really enjoying it as much anymore, and that was kind of the vibe I got the whole way through the book. Like, sometimes I was having such a good time, and then other times I was like, actually I'm really sick of this. And I think it's to do with the writing style. It has a very weird writing style where it's really trying to be very funny. I don't really know how to describe it. Like, she uses a lot of words to make a point. Not a point, but like to explain what the plot is. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more words than it needs to be. She just draws things out to try and make it funnier. So yeah, the writing style just really did not work for me. Like, sometimes I would enjoy it, and other times I would be like, okay, I'm so bored of this. Like, just tell me what's going on. Like, it was almost confusing because she was trying so hard to be like funny. It was a weird writing style, and like there were so many references to like, oh my gosh, but what would Jane Austen's characters do? Like, they would be quaking. But yeah, there were just all of these weird references which were like so unnecessary, and I think that it was supposed to make it like charming, and I didn't find it charming. And I also found that the like lover, it's like enemies to lovers, but that really lasts like 30%, and there's like no sort of build up to them becoming lovers. It's just like they're enemies, like literally yelling at each other, and then boom, they're having sex, and like there's no in between. Like, I don't know, there's just no development there. I didn't hate this book. I've just been complaining about this book, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. Well, no, I thought it was okay, but yeah, the writing style just really didn't work for me. Like I said, sometimes I would be like, oh, I'm really enjoying this, and then I'd be like, actually, I need a freaking break because like this is just too much. So I ended up giving this book a 3 on Goodreads. I rounded it up to a 3, but it's like a very low 3, more like a 2.5, 2.75. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but also it's not nearly as bad as like Enchanted to Meet You, which was so bad. Oh my god. Anyway, that is our penultimate book, so I have one more book to read for this vlog, and I really hope it's a banger because I've had one good book in this vlog. Is that right? The only one I've read that I enjoyed is The Kiss Curse. So that is like so sad because I really thought the witchy rom-com genre was gonna be such a vibe, and it really has not been. It's been a disappointment. So yeah, the last book I have to read is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and I am really excited for this one. I'm gonna try and go in with lower expectations, but I've heard literally nothing but glowing reviews about this. I'm trying to go in with lower expectations, but hopefully I love this one. Yeah, so that will be my last book for this this vlog unless there was an arc that I requested, but they haven't approved it and it's actually come out now. I think it came out yesterday, so I don't know if they will approve it. So yeah, unless they suddenly approve that or I find a different witchy book that I want to read, we're almost done. And then I think I honestly need to take a break from the themed reading vlogs because it's not been a good time. I say that, but I have literally 2 others planned in quick succession, so I really need to get on with my other reads. Anyway, that's all for that update. So I will come back to you once I've started the final book, and hopefully I enjoy it, because so far this vlog has been such a fail. I'm gonna go and I will talk to you later. Hello, good morning. You don't know what day or time it is, but it's a Wednesday and it's the morning. I finally have finished the last book for this reading vlog, which was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. Anyway, I was going to pop in at some point and update when I started this book, but it didn't happen, and I finished it yesterday, so here we are. If you don't know what this book is about, this is basically a very wholesome, cozy fantasy romance witchy book, obviously. The theme of this whole video, and basically in this story, witches exist, obviously, but they do keep their magic secret because they're worried about the repercussions of like certain humans finding out. So yeah, they keep their magic a secret. However, you don't just get families of witches. Like sometimes witches can be born to human parents, and obviously in those situations they know about the witchiness and the magic, but it doesn't always work out very well. So because of that, it's very isolating, and our main character, Mika, oh my god, I literally forgot her name and I finished it yesterday, was found in India when she was a child by this woman called Primrose, who's also a witch, and is like the very powerful witch in England at the time, and she's like the head of the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which is just the name that Mika has for it. It's not really like a whole thing. It's just like once every 3 months, all of the witches in England meet and kind of discuss like their spells, if they've had any trouble, things like that. But apart from that, they all stay apart because they've always been told that if witches get together, then there will be really bad repercussions because you can't have that much magic all in one place. Anyway, so Mika has had a very isolated life. She never stays in a town for longer than like 6 months because she's worried about forming attachments to people. So she's always moving around. And she also happens to have a YouTube channel, which I thought was a really weird thing to add, and it's also very irrelevant because that doesn't become a thing after not very long. Anyway, but she has this YouTube channel where she makes witchy videos, but it's kind of like it's just a witchy persona, so it's just for show. It's not like actual magic that she's doing, but it's just so that she can talk about magic because she really loves it, and she doesn't like the fact that she has no one to talk to about it. So these people find her videos. They're basically raising 3 young witches, and they're like, oh hey, we want you to come live in our mansion basically and train these 3 girls because the woman who adopted them isn't really around and they need to learn to control their magic. Anyway, so that's like the whole setup. So Mika goes to this mansion and starts training these 3 girls, and it's got like very strong found family vibes, and it's very like sweet and wholesome. Apart from, there's this guy there called Jamie, and he is like very protective of the girls, and so he's quite wary of Mika and is quite mean to her. Anyway, but obviously it's a bit of a grumpy sunshine romance between them, and
And I liked this book, but I think that the weakest aspect was the romance. Like, I don't think it needed to be there, and I kind of wish it wasn't. It was kind of giving me similar vibes to Legends and Lattes in that, like, not that much really happens and the stakes are relatively low, apart from the fact that in Legends and Lattes there's pretty much no romance, and in this it was like trying to be a romance. But I don't know, I just really didn't like the romance. I didn't feel it at all. The romance is also very, very, very slow burn. We're talking like they don't even think about getting together until like 75% of the way through the book. And because of that, it really kind of left a bad taste in my mouth right at the end, because it was like just the ending where there was the romance, and I just wish it hadn't been there at all, because the rest of it I really liked. Like, I really liked her teaching these young witches how to use their powers. I enjoyed it and I would recommend it, but I just personally thought the romance just didn't work for me. So if it didn't have the romance, it would be much better. And that's very weird for me to say. Like, I love romance. So yeah, it's strange that I didn't want the romance, or if the romance had just been like developed better. I just feel like it wasn't there and it wasn't necessary. But yeah, I enjoyed this book. It was a good time. I'm so disappointed though, because I feel like I read the best book earlier on, and I read it like, this video has taken me a really long time to do. So I started reading these books in August. My favorite book of the vlog quite clearly has been The Kiss Curse, and I read that at the end of September. And that was also like the most Halloween vibes, because actually the very secret society of Irregular Witches takes place like from like mid-November to the end of December. So it actually has kind of Christmas vibes, which I was not expecting. So I would actually recommend it for like November, December time rather than October, because it did not give me the Halloween vibes that I wanted. And now it's like almost Halloween and I have no idea what to read to get me into that spooky spirit. I think I'll just have to read some thrillers or something. So now that I've finished all of the books, I thought I should tell you like my ranking of how I would recommend these books, or if I would at all, and like worst to best. The worst book I read for this video was The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. As you know, I DNF'd that book and I gave it like 1 star on Goodreads because I really thought that was very bad. So yeah, that was probably like the worst one I've read, just because I literally couldn't finish it. Although next is definitely Enchanted to Meet You. That book was so bad. Oh my god. I gave it 1.5 stars and I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads, but like I think I need to lower that to a 1 star, because every time I think about this book, I just am reminded about how truly terrible it was. Like, that was just such a bad book. Anyway, the next one was Hex Appeal. I gave this one 2 stars, and as you know, I didn't enjoy this. However, it did definitely have the autumnal vibes to it. So yeah, parts of the writing of this were actually not bad, and there were parts that I really enjoyed about this book. But overall, it was not a good book in the end. Wow, this vlog was really a success, like truly the best. The next one was The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. This one, the writing style just really didn't work for me, and sometimes I loved it, sometimes I hated it. You've already heard me talk about this. And yeah, this one was a 2.5. I would still recommend it if... Would I recommend it? I don't know. If you want that silly type of writing style and you're not going to get annoyed by it, then sure, read it. Why not? Then it would be The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This one was good, but as I just said, there were things I didn't like about it, and 3.5 stars. And obviously, my absolute favorite was Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. Erin Sterling, in my mind, can do no wrong with her witchy romance books. I adore them. I know that they're not for everyone, which I don't understand. I think they're literally perfect for Halloween time, but not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay. That's my personal favorite. I think that I will return to those books in the future, and I'm very much anticipating book number 3, which is coming out next year. But yeah, those will be my Halloween reads. I do still want to give the books by Lana Harper a go, which are Payback's a Witch. That's the first one. I definitely want to give those ones a go. I just haven't got around to it yet, but I might save those for next year. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. I know it's been a complete disaster, but I hope you enjoyed it regardless. Even though I had not the best time with this, some of these books were like funny how bad they were. So, you know, overall, I had a good time with it. And, you know, I found another favorite book of the year by Miss Erin Sterling. Let me know what witchy books you've enjoyed, if you've read any and enjoyed them. But yeah, if there are any that I've missed that I should be reading, please let me know, because I would love for this to be a genre that I like, but this video has proven that it's actually not really, or like I'm just very picky with it. So yeah, please give me any recommendations. I would love to know, and let me know what you're going to be reading for Halloween. I want to know. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I've already kept you for way too long. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope actually, if you did, please hit thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye. In the backyard of your old farm in the summer.